All right, welcome to the Shepherd's Crook podcast. This is going to be a little bit different. In fact, this is actually not going to go to the podcast at all. This is just going to be a video for Gab, and I'm going to talk about the wood stove. And I'm crazy about this thing. I absolutely love it. We are going to have a little bit of distractions because Valor's here playing with Legos, and I may step up or down, move over here, and so you may just have to follow my voice. I might just move around a little bit, but this is going to be like a part one of a series on the wood stove Chronicles. That's what we're calling it. And I just want to tell you the ins and outs of this thing and why we got it, why it's important. And then, as a pastor, encouraging other pastors, this is there's going to be some unique things for pastors, but I think everybody's going to be at least get some information, and we'll maybe think through the possibility of getting a wood stove or something like this, some sort of secondary heat that's going to be helpful for your family if the power grid goes down or something like that, or if electric costs continue to go sky high, which I think they will. But I want to run through a couple things, and then we're going to break this up. I'm going to do a few other episodes on this, and really, I'm going to do some follow-up episodes because I've not had to use our primary heat at all for the last 3 weeks, but we've not had that many cold days, and we have a cold snap coming here the next few days where we're going to get down. The highs are going to be in the 30s. And it's going to get a little bit colder than it's been. It's really going to test this out because I've been heating my whole house with this, and I'll explain how in just a second. But it's really going to be tested, and so I'll do a follow-up, and I'm also going to do a follow-up and letting you know how much wood is being burned and how much it's going to require over the next couple days, because I've got right outside my door some dry, seasoned firewood, and I'll explain that also. So first, I really just wanted to explain why I wanted a wood stove for our home, and I think that as you're thinking through energy costs in your state, or just energy cost as a whole, you really need to be considering, or at least think through considering secondary heat, because just in 1 year, from last year to this year, summer to summer, electric cost I saw went up, I think it was like 23% in just 1 year. And so you're talking about a pretty significant, a pretty big jump in energy costs. And if you live in a state like we live in Illinois, where we're continuing to outsource our energy and our fossil fuels to where, we're going to have a real problem powering our state over the next 20 years based on some of these green policies that have been put in place, if they're not overturned and kicked to the curb. And so for us, energy costs were really important for us as we considered a wood stove. And I wanted to get a wood stove primarily to make our family, as to use a popular phrase right now for the last couple of years, I wanted to make us as durable as possible. And I wanted to add some sort of secondary heat, and this is our primary heat now, but I still wanted to have some sort of secondary heat, which is our now regular furnace, our electric furnace. But I also just wanted a wood stove because as a pastor, I need manual labor. And this is something that's going to be really good for me and the boys. The boys have already been helping me. Ransom, you want to come over here and say hey real quick? Back up. That's too close. Well, that was Ransom. And Ransom's going to be helping with this. Hey, Joey, can you give an overview so far of what you thought of the wood stove? Or you can jump on camera if you want. If not, that's okay.
What did you say?
Do you like it or no?
I love it, and I was very against it at first.
Okay, this is Jordan, in case you don't know. Most people I know watching will know. This is Joey. I know, but
I was very against it at first.
She was against it.
I love it, and I think the heat is very cozy, and it makes our floors hot upstairs, which I like. And I like boiling oranges on the top.
Yeah, boiling oranges. So yes, okay, stop that now. All right, so Jordan has been won over. When I first started talking about this, it was kind of a list. It was a long line of a list of things that I had been doing last year. But I knew I wanted to make this happen, and I knew that there was going to be costs involved. So what I did was I got on Facebook Marketplace. I knew the piping was going to be the most expensive, and I was able to get some really good deals. And I got a really good deal on this unit. This is an Osborne unit. I think it's a 1600 unit or a 1700 unit, which is supposed to be good for up to 2,000 square feet. And I bought this and the hearth, and I was able to find it on Marketplace for $700. And then I had to get all the piping, and I actually had to get it professionally installed as well. But a few things to consider as you're thinking through a wood stove on the front end is cost. You got to think about that, because if I would have got this whole unit, my buddy Josh that installed it for me, he said that this whole unit would have cost about $6,000, because this is in the basement of our home, and we had to put it all the way through 2 floors, and the pipe had to go through this floor and then the upstairs floor and then all the way to the roof. And so we got a significant amount of pipe, and that insulated stainless pipe is pretty expensive. And so if you can't get a good deal on that, you're talking about a good amount of money on the front end to get these things installed. And also when you're thinking about the cost, because you're thinking about how much is going to save you, and then how much is going to save in the next year, in the coming years, how long it's going to take for it to pay itself off. The other thing you have to consider is insurance costs. And for our insurance, it's not going to go up very much. Like, actually, it's not very substantial at all. I think less than $100 a year. But the thing that is, it was required is that it has to be UL listed. And if you don't know about a wood stove being UL listed, you got to find that there's got to be a stamp on the back. Insurance companies will not cover it if your whole system is not UL listed. And so the pipe has to all be the same kind of pipe. The stove has to be UL listed, and our insurance required that it was installed by a professional. So fortunately, my buddy Josh is a professional installer of these, and he actually installed this for us, so that worked out really well. So you have to consider that as you're thinking through, you know, am I going to do this or am I not going to do this? You got to think about the overall cost. You got to think about the insurance, and then also you got to think about, you know, the manual labor side of it. Do you actually want to put the work in to chop the wood and to have piles of wood on the outside? And I'll have to get to this in a couple other Wood Stove Chronicles episodes, but you have to have different piles, and you have to have this year's pile and next year's pile, because you have to burn seasoned wood. And if you're not burning seasoned wood, then one of the problems you're going to have is that you're going to have this creosote buildup that's going to build up a lot faster than if you're burning seasoned wood, which is wood that's been sitting for over a year drying out. And so a lot of that sap and the stuff inside the wood is going to dry out over the year. And so if you're willing to do that work, and if you want to do that manual labor, this is a really, really good option for you. And I have absolutely, I mean, so far I've really enjoyed it. And so we've been chopping wood. We have to, you know, get your saw out. You got to find the tree. You got to find sources for the wood. And then you just got to do the work. And so if you're willing to pay the upfront cost of a unit, if you're able to, you know, be a little bit, you know, frugal when it comes to this kind of thing, and do the work to get on the marketplace and to find the deals, or if cost isn't an issue to you at all, then really I don't see why there's really no reason to not do this. But the last thing you need to consider before doing this is your home itself. Do you have a good place in your home to put a wood stove? Now, if we would have rebuilt our home today rather than 5 years ago, we love our home. We absolutely love everything about it. But one of the things we would have done differently, and one of the things you'll find out as you get older is you kind of become a different person the older you get. And so we've kind of become a little bit different people in the last 5 years. And a lot of that is from external, you know, things that have been happening and just growth that we've gone through personally. But we would have put a wood stove in from the very beginning. And Valor, good shot. Valor's trying to shoot me as I'm recording over there. And Valor, you can come make a cameo if you want, buddy. But if we would have been building this today, hey, say, hey, I'm recording. They got to see your face, man. If we would have did this today, I would have built the house around the wood stove in the basement. So we had to work through a couple different places down here, and had some buddies help me move it a few times. We finally found the place that it needed to be, and because we didn't build this and plan on this from the very beginning, we actually have to have the flue, the chimney, go up through the second floor, and it's actually exposed upstairs. And again, in another video, I'll show you that. It actually looks really good. It's kind of an industrial look. I really like it. It kind of ends up being a little bit of a focal point in the living room now, and it looks pretty good. And we get heat that radiates off that. And then finally, after you consider all that stuff, the way this works for me is I have the cold air intake on the other side of this room. And how this has been working so far, when the temperatures have been in the upper 30s or in the 40s, is that this thing heats. And as this is radiating heat, and like right now, our heat isn't on. I don't need a fireplace because it's only in the mid 40s, and we have the oven going upstairs. And right now down here, I see my thermostat. It's 71 degrees in this home right now, and we have no heat going at all. So what we do is we have been doing morning fires and evening fires when it's a little bit colder at night, creating a burst of heat, and then we have our thermostat on circulate, and that cold air intake over here has been working really good so far, because it's just getting all the heat that's down here in this big room in the basement, and then it's just been circulating this through the house. So we've absolutely, I mean, we've just not had to run the heat. The big test, like I said, is going to be over the next couple days, and we'll get back to you on that. This has been a lot of fun. I've got a couple accessories that I'm going to tell you about, and I think we'll probably, I don't know, do 4 or 5 episodes on this, maybe even more when we have to do the chimney flue clean out. And I'll probably tell you how to do that, and then show you how to do that next year when I do this for the first time. The way I've got this set up, I think I'm gonna have to clean this at the beginning of each year, maybe in the summertime, just depends on when I want to do it. But I'll get back to you on that. But we'll go through the gadgets. We'll go through we got a little pot here that we're not smoking pot. We got a little pot here that we're filling with oranges and water and boiling to keep the moisture in the room, because these things take away the moisture in the room like crazy. We'll get to ash removal, how to do that, and several other things. The other reason I wanted to do this is that I know that on YouTube you can find a ton of different videos like this, but on Gab, really wanted to be committed to Gab, and what I want is more and more videos, to see more and more videos to pop up like this. And so I thought, I enjoy this kind of stuff, so why not go ahead and do this and then explain to you some of the, things that you got to consider to get into this, and then, show you some of the how-to stuff as you get going. And I'm still new to this, so I'm kind of learning along the way, but I figured it might be fun for some of you anyways to go along with me and take kind of the journey with us as we're figuring out more and more stuff about this. Hey, honey, you got anything else to say about this? No? Okay, I'll have to have Jordan in this more in future episodes. And thanks so much. If you are not subscribed yet, please subscribe, share this. And if this has been helpful, leave a comment. If you have any questions, please just put them in the comments and the questions. Ransom, you got anything else?
Yeah. You have to have wood for the fire every year.
Yeah, that's right. So that's that season thing that we're going to be talking about, teaching Ransom. And the other reason is, in pastoral ministry, you're not looking for manual labor. It's easy to not find it. And so I want to be able to get more and more things like this in my life. It's just good for me. It's good to have calloused hands. It's good for my boys to have calloused hands and to see them like this. And it's good for my wife to see me working manually as well. To only do, sermon prep every week and meeting with people, it can be pretty cush on the manual labor side of things. And so I think she would rather me have a little bit broader shoulders than I do right now and not be womanly looking and in a squishy jello. So anyways, until next time, thanks so much for being here. Please subscribe and share. Hope you have a great rest of your day.